What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto was banished and become the true child of destiny? If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. Flashback. It was a beautiful day for many people in the elemental nations. There were birds chirping in the air, children running around laughing while adults just watched them from a distance. It was truly magnificent, but the same cannot be said to the two figures standing against each other at the place known as the Valley of the End. In one side there stood a kid that seems to be 12 years old. He had a blue shirt with the Uchiha symbol on the back and white shorts. His hair was in the shape of a duck's rear and was currently glaring at the other person across the field. This person was Sasuke Uchiha. On the other side of the field was another child the same age as the first one. He wore a bright orange jumpsuit that anyone could spot for miles. His hair was spiky blonde and had a Konoha headband tied to his forehead. Like Sasuke, Hito was glaring at him. This person was no other than Naruto Uzumaki. Sasuke kept on glaring at Naruto until he finally spoke. "Coming after me will only get you killed, Naruto. So I'll just ask you this. Why?" Naruto shifted his footing before finally speaking. "Because you're my friend. Even though we don't get along with each other, I still care for you." He looked down to the ground and had his hair shadow cover his eyes a bit. "I also made a promise. I promise that I plan on keeping no matter the cost." Naruto looked back at Sasuke with his eyes slit before yelling, "So I'll bring you back even if I have to drag you half dead. Then you'll die today." Sasuke then reached his right hand out before he formed a Chidori, which the lightning started to cackle in every direction. Seeing this, Naruto summoned a clone and have him form a Rasengan on his own right hand. Once it completed, the clone dispersed. Neither of them moved for a while before they made eye contact. Naruto charged head first with his Rasengan next to him. Seeing this, Sasuke took it as a signal to charge with his Chidori. "Sasuke, Naruto." They both yelled as they closed in on each other in great speed. "Naruto." Sasuke yelled again, but this time his voice was different. "Naruto, wake up." The same voice said again. "Naruto." Time seemed to slow down for Naruto once he saw everything blurring out of existence. Everything immediately started to form into what seemed to be a room with people looking at him in different sides. One area seemed to be a seating for shinobi while the other side were for the civilians. And in the middle was no other than the Godem Hokage, Tsunade Senju. Naruto snapped out of his dream before he looked around confusingly. Looking throughout the entire room, he could see that the civilian council was glaring at him with hate-filled eyes. If only their glares could kill, then it could have been useful. On the middle and right side of the room he felt quite saddened. He doesn't know why, but seeing the faces of his Ba-chan and the clan heads made him nervous. A lot of them were trying to hide their depressing aura and were succeeding, but he knew something was wrong, something bad, something terrible. "This meeting will now be in session," Tsunade said out of the blue, but she said it quite saddened on having to do what she has to do. Naruto turned his attention to his grandmother, worried. "Ba-chan? Why am I here? I thought I was supposed to be at my room, or something." One overweighted civilian councilman lost his temper hearing that the demon brat doesn't know what he did wrong. He could have gone and start to beat Naruto for saying that. He wouldn't have succeeded even if Naruto was by himself. "You don't know what you've done. Stop playing games, brat. Your hands were tainted with our shinobi's blood since the KY." The civilians, seeing that they upset their Hokage, decided to keep quiet throughout the entire meeting. If they could last, of course. Seeing that everything has quieted down, Tsunade took a small breath before she turned to her grandson. "Naruto, we have summoned you so we can discuss about something rather important." She said the last word as if she was about to break down into tears, but she didn't. After a minute or two, Naruto finally spoke up. "What do we need to discuss about?" He watched as his grandmother tried to speak up, but she couldn't. Her guilt was eating her inside out and she sometimes would just doze off in her own words. Seeing that this wasn't gonna get them anywhere, one Shukaku Nara decided to speak up. "Naruto, before I get to what Lady Tsunade was about to say, I just want to say thank you for being friends with my son. He could be quite lazy sometimes, but he can manage." "Oh Shukaku, you're lazier than your son at times." One Choza Akamichi spoke up from his place. "Same here, Naruto, thanks for being friends with my son Choji." I know you and my daughter Ino never really talked or know each other much, but I would also like to give you my gratitude for at least being a friend to her. Inoichi Yamanaka spoke up. My son also, he might be harsh and talks about being the alpha male a lot, but he also tells me that you're one of his closest friends from the academy. Sume Inuzuka joined in. My son also Naruto-san. He doesn't have many friends since he mostly keeps to himself. Shibi Aburame spoke, surprising almost everybody there since he, just like his son, he rarely communicates. I would like to thank you for helping my daughter Hinata. She has been training harder ever since she told me once about you. At first I didn't believe her and brushed her off. Now I see that I was wrong. Again, thank you for helping her. She sees something in you that I can't see. Hiyashi Hyuga spoke, smiling a little. It surprised many in the room, mainly because ever since the death of his wife and brother he became cold to a lot of people in Konohagakure, including his own daughters. Naruto was smiling, thinking about what the clan heads said to him. At first he thought that he was just some other orphan kid, but no, he saw that they held great respect towards him. Whether he was a civilian or a shinobi. I believe that's enough out of this. We have to get this over with. The quicker the better, Shikaku said, breaking the moment the clan heads and Naruto were having. No, it won't be better. He mumbled the last part so only his fellow clan heads could hear, including the Hokage. Naruto grew worried seeing that the shinobi council have grew quiet. They were depressed on losing someone they held dear to them. But they can't do anything about it now. They lost the voting and they have to fulfill the law. Naruto, out of a losing vote. Some people started to cry and others smiled. You are hereby. Much more started to lose control of their emotions, banished from Konoha. That hit him, the voice was echoing in his head over and over like one big unending nightmare. And out of fear. You're to have your chakras sealed until your banishment is over. Time slowed down for Naruto, he visualized his life passing before him. From his days from the orphanage to the day when he becomes Hokage and has a family of his own, and when he grows old and dies with the woman he's gonna marry. He never noticed an Anbu placing a seal on his back. No, why me? Naruto mumbled to himself. He couldn't take the pressure with the eyes of joy and pity he was receiving from everybody. Not waiting for his grandmother to dismiss the meeting, he ran out the room, out of the building, and just kept on running. He ran and ran and ran. He ran past the crowd of people that both loved and hated him. Pushing aside every single person in his line of sight to the side and kept running. Tears finally filled his eyes as he closed in on his apartment. He then ran inside, shut the door, and cried himself to sleep. Why me? Why me? He kept on crying the same words into his pillow. My career, my shinobi career. All ruined. He wanted someone to comfort him, it could be anyone, but no one was there. Just himself, all alone in the dark. Time skipped midnight. It was the middle of the night and Naruto was in his apartment pulling the drawers open and placing clothes in a large backpack. He was keeping anything that he thought was useful. He even kept a few photos from himself and the other of the Konoha 12, just for the memories. It didn't take too long to finish everything he was gonna take with him. With that out of the way, he grabbed his pack and walked out of his apartment. He looked back in the room, remembering all the fun and lonely nights he had here. Taking a breath, he closed the door and made way on the rooftops, running and jumping over the buildings. He doesn't care if he has chakra that much right now. He could do parkour perfectly and get to his destination in a few minutes. He avoided the streets knowing that there might be people out in this time. After a few more hops over buildings, he heard a familiar voice in a restaurant, an Akamichi restaurant. Taking a quick peek inside the window, he saw that the person he heard was no other than Choji. I just heard from my dad that Naruto was banished, Choji said to the others who were with him. Taking a closer look, he saw that Shikamaru, Lee, Kiba, Tenten, Shino, Neji, Ino, Sakura, and Hinata were there. My old man said that the civilian council were gonna kick him out of the village by noon. If you ask me, that seems so troublesome, Shikamaru said from the place he sat. It's just not fair. Why would he get banished just because he brought Sasuke back? Did you even see the injury he had? He had a chidori pierced through his chest that almost hit his lungs. Kiba said. Akamaru was whimpering on Kiba's lap and Kiba in return started to pet him. It's okay Akamaru, I'm here for you. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have had him go get Sasuke back for me. Now look, both of them came back nearly killed by each other's hands. Sakura sobbed. Ino and Hinata were rubbing her back in an attempt to comfort her. "It's not your fault. You or anyone else wouldn't have known what was gonna happen," Ino said soothingly. It pained her to watch her best friend crying her eyes out. "Ino-san is right, Sakura-san. We wouldn't have known if Sasuke-san and Naruto-kun were gonna come back the way they were." "My 2-san," said Naruto-kun healed extremely fast. Hinata tried to help Ino to calm down their friend. Naruto was starting to tear up now. He knew that this would probably be the last time he'll ever see them, and he can't help it but want to start over in life with the people he cared for. They were smart enough not to judge him by what others say. Of course they had fights and arguments at some point, but that's what friends do. Right? What do you think about Naruto, Shino? Neji? Tenten? Lee? Kiba asked, looking up to the two from his current position. "I thought he was some random person who thought that they can achieve anything and not follow their own fate." Neji crossed his arms and looked down. "But he changed me, number. He showed me that you don't need to follow fate. He told me that I should build my own fate and protect the people I hold closely to my heart. That's when I'll truly become strong." Naruto and the others smiled at hearing this. Only that blonde idiot can say something like this and get people to smile, to know what it feels like to be loved. "Naruto-kun is my youthful rival. He was like me in the academy days, and I was sure that I couldn't be a ninja since I couldn't perform a single jutsu. That was until Guy-sensei found me and offered to train me." Lee smiled, remembering that day. Naruto-kun was just the same. He performed a cage bunshin in front of Iruka-sensei when he didn't mean to steal the Forbidden Scroll. "We became rivals in the beginning of the Chunin exams later." Naruto smiled, remembering his meeting with Lee, and were gonna compete for Sakura's love, but Sasuke intervened later. "Me and Naruto were friends when we were little. But we never hanged out much," Tenten said. "I never talked to Naruto much, but he did respect me and offered to be friends during the academy." Shino replied. He leaned on the wall and fidgeted his hands in his pockets. "Let me guess, he accepted your offer, but in return you told him what was his opinion on bugs." Kiba smiled, with Akamaru wagging his tail on his lap. Everyone in the room laughed and Naruto chuckled from outside. "Oh, you have no idea," Naruto mumbled. He looked back inside and saw everybody ceasing to laugh. Shino did not laugh. He kept his appearance the same throughout the whole time they were there. "I did ask him that." Kiba stopped laughing and looked at Shino, shocked on getting something right. "Whoa, that was weird." "Sorry man, none taken." Shino kept his composure throughout the entire time. Choji was looking at the shy Hyuga the whole time, knowing that this was the last shot she can have. "It's either now or never," say Hinata. "Not to blow your cover or anything, but don't you think you should confess to him?" Choji sheepishly said, "Tomorrow is probably the last day you're gonna see him." "Eh? What do you mean?" Hinata fidgeted her fingers around. "Yeah, what do you mean, Choji?" Ino asked. She raised an eyebrow, wanting to know what's going on. "Don't tell me you guys don't know." Choji looked around if anybody knew what he was talking about. "I know what you mean." Shikamaru supported. "Same here," Kiba answered. "As much as I don't know if it can be approved." "I know what you mean." Neji joined in. "I've known since the academy." Shino joined in. "My youthful friend can't blind me when he has someone after his love." Lee raised his fist up. "Yeah, Neji told me later when he stopped talking about fate." Tenten supported. "I don't know what you guys are talking about." Hinata's cheeks started to redden from being the center of attention. "Do I have to spell it out for you?" Kiba groaned in annoyance. "You love him. A lot of us knew since the academy, but we chose not to say anything about it. Heck, we thought Naruto would have noticed your feelings for him." Naruto's eye widened, surprised on hearing what he heard. If this was true, why didn't he notice from the beginning? Of course she fainted a couple times they talked, but he thought it was because she had a disability or something. It was quite obvious now from the way she acted around him, or if he's nearby. "No way, Hinata, is this true?" Ino looked toward Hinata, wanting to know if what Kiba said was true. "Wyuc." Hinata tried to come up with an excuse, but with no luck she gave in. "Yeah, it's true. Tell me everything. Since when did you first love him? Did you plan to confess to him? Oh, I know, if you both ever went out, what place would it be and how would it go?" Ino started to blurt out random ideas that came to her head, causing the shy Hyuga to flush madly. I think my T2-san is looking for me," she quickly said, not wanting to be there anymore. "That's it, he's looking for me." With that said, Hinata ran out of the restaurant and went straight home. "Oh, have you tell me everything Hinata, just you wait." With that said, she went home thinking about certain questions she might ask her. Well, since everybody's leaving, I guess I'll head home. See y'all later. Shikamaru walked away with his hands in his pocket. Following him out were Neji, Shino, Sakura, Tenten and Lee. "We'll have to see Naruto off in the morning. Just to say goodbye," Kiba said, looking at the direction where everybody left. "Yeah, let's tell the others in the morning." Choji nodded. With that said, Kiba left with Akamaru heading to their clan compound while Choji went toward his. The two never noticed a shadow running across the rooftops toward the village main gate. "You guys," Naruto thought, running along the rooftops. Tears started to form on the corner of his eyes. "I'm sorry." He ran over and the side of buildings, but he mostly stick to the shadows. In less than an hour he finally made it toward the main gate and disappeared without the guards noticing. Time skip in some forest in the land of fire. Naruto was out of breath with all the running he did once he left the village. Once his breathing was finally back in his control, he turned to look at the sky and saw it was early in the morning but still dark. Somewhere around 4 o'clock to 5 a.m. I probably better keep moving. They might send assassins after me even though they banished me. When Naruto was about to start running again, he heard the Kyuubi speak to him. "Stay here," Kyuubi said in his mind. "Why?" Naruto stopped. "Just trust me. Your life will become easier if you stay here. Can you at least tell me why?" Naruto asked. He didn't receive an answer. "Kyuubi, are you there?" Naruto asked through his mindscape. Yet again he still didn't receive an answer. Alright then. Naruto walked and sat under a tree for a couple minutes waiting for something to happen. "Arg, why am I staying here for? There's nothing special but trees, grass, and a whole bunch of things that bear a part of nature." Naruto whined, stomping his foot on the ground frustratingly. "I'm going to have to ignore your request, Kyuubi, otherwise I'll die here." Naruto mumbled. He was about to walk away until something bright flashed up behind. Curious on what happened, Naruto turned around and saw a white tear-shaped portal floating not too far away from him. "What is this thing?" Naruto thought. He walked up to it slowly, trying to see if this odd object is some kind of threat. Before he could say anything again, one demon inside his mindscape replied. "It's a portal to a new world, I think. I told you to stay here because this portal opens every couple of years. You were just lucky enough to be at the right place," Kyuubi informed. "How did you know it will be here?" the blonde Jinchuriki asked, taking a closer look at the portal. "Kit, I've wandered around the elemental nations for about 1,000 years. I know where everything is at," Kyuubi answered in his annoyed expression. "I also told you to stay because I knew you would like to have a new start in life with people you can trust. So what are you waiting for? Jump in." Naruto smiled at the thought of beginning a new life. He looked back at the place he once called home, where he developed friends he can trust. "I guess this goodbye, guys." "Ya nay." With that said, he jumped in the portal and disappeared from the elemental nations. The portal slowly closed and vanished from that world, never to be opened for another couple years. Somewhere in the US, Earth, time skipped 9 years. Naruto just got off the news in his house and was preparing to go to work. The newscast was talking about the discovery of a giant mechanical ball that they called the Traveler. The Traveler was discovered by a 3-man crew when they set course toward their planet neighbor, Mars. This news was blocked off from the public, and until a couple years later it showed up in Earth's atmosphere. The whole world was at panic, thinking it was an alien invasion when they first caught sight of it. It took a while for people to calm down, but they eventually did. Now what they saw was simply amazing to them. This Traveler was actually helping humanity in its technology. From the technology the Traveler was providing them, they managed to set up a colony on the moon where people started to live. It started to build up as they made a stable atmosphere on planet Venus and Mars and sent people toward the 2 planets to expand the human race. It was a truly wonderful world they could live in. But that wonder didn't last for long. The appearance of the Traveler in their solar system caused a great evil to find them. It wasn't just that too, there were also alien species popping out of nowhere in the 3 different colonies. The 2 planets sent signals of assistance and helped to humanity's home planet for assistance, but they too were in a horrible situation. So they did the only thing they never wanted to do. They order everybody to evacuate their home planets. They got a bunch of transportation, all ships, and sent it off into space toward the asteroid belt one by one. Those who couldn't leave in time fled toward a large open valley and started to build a gigantic wall. They worked day and night trying to get the wall up in fear of being attacked by those things again. But everybody just couldn't build. No, they couldn't. Those who didn't want to build on some wall volunteered to help fight back the alien species they called the Fallen. Out of thousands of people that joined Naruto was one of them, along with a couple of his friends he made. Joseph, Cassandra, Jose, Amy, and Ryan. Naruto. There was a voice he heard, someone familiar. He couldn't hear out of the sounds of bombs detonating and the horrifying roars of the Fallen. Naruto. There it was again, but he doesn't know where it came from. His vision was a blur. And he couldn't see or think straight. He then got smacked across the face, knocking him out of his drowsiness. Naruto, get a hold of yourself. Joseph yelled. He ducked under cover so he won't get shot. Shit, sorry Joseph. I just dozed off there for a sec. Naruto grabbed his head and stood in a crouching position. No kidding. You nearly gave me a heart attack. Joseph sighed in relief. It won't happen again. Naruto was about to continue, but he was interrupted by two people sliding next to them. Hey guys, not to ruin anything, but the commander gave the order to fall back. Amy stated. He then pointed her AK-74U over cover and fired, killing a couple of Dreg. Yeah, we wouldn't want to be left behind. Cassandra said and tossed a frag over. It detonated a few seconds later, followed by a few fallen soldiers roaring in pain. Where are Jose and Ryan? Naruto asked. They're up there manning the turrets for heavy fire to buy us time to escape. Amy pointed at a car and saw Jose and Ryan firing their turrets at Fallen just to hold them back long enough for everybody to escape. FKU Alien S** teabags. Ryan shouted. Fallen Dreg were about to break their defense, but they were shredded apart by Jose and his turret. Chinga tu madre pendejos. Yup, that's definitely them. Naruto chuckled, seeing the two holding off the Fallen. Those two were the addicts in shooter games when they were young. Okay, let's go. The four then made a run for it in an attempt to regroup with their allies. A lot of men and women were getting gunned down by the Fallen once they started to pile up once they left cover, but there were still a lot making it back toward their allies. The two turrets that were being used by Jose and Ryan were now out of ammo and causing the two to retreat from their position. Naruto and the others were running, ducking, and jumping over obstacles in the now bloodied battlefield. They were nearly there until Naruto spotted something wavering on his left. When it got closer, he saw that it was a captain that has an invisible cloak on and was making his way towards them. Toward Joseph. The captain was a couple meters from Joseph and Naruto knew he couldn't warn him in time. So what did he do? He pushed Joseph out of the way just in time for the blade to miss his friend and stabbed him through the chest. Time seemed to slow down as blood started to pour out from his wound as the captain raised him off the ground. The now down Joseph looked at his best friend in shock. No, Naruto! He screamed from the top of his lungs. Cassandra and Amy stood there shocked, terrified, afraid, heartbroken. They just witnessed their crush get stabbed through the chest by one of those things. The two started to develop a crush on the blonde during the middle of the second school year of junior high, but they couldn't tell him out of losing their friendship. They didn't want to lose him, but they lost him anyway. Jose and Ryan, hearing the stream coming from Joseph, turned and also saw Naruto up in the air with a blade stabbed through his chest. Knowing that the three there would be next, they sprinted there as fast as they can and snapped them out of their shock. Joseph was about to run in attempt to save his best friend's life, but he was held back by Ryan. Let me go, let me go, he's still alive. Joseph squirmed from Ryan's grip. We can't save him now, Joseph. He's gone. Ryan pulled Joseph back as fast as he can and started to run back toward their allies along with other three. They all looked back at Naruto's face with tears in their eyes. Looking at the face that brought them all together when they were kids, they saw something they thought they wouldn't see in a long time. His smile. Guys, I'm sorry, Naruto muttered, seeing the saddened faces of his best friends he made on Earth. The last thing he saw was the pouring tears of his friends' faces as they looked back at him. At his deathbed. Flashback end. Disclaimer. We called it the Traveler, and its arrival changed us forever. Great cities were built on Mars and Venus. Mercury became a garden world. Human lifespan tripled. It was a time of miracles. We stared out into the galaxy and knew that it was our destiny to walk in the light of other stars. But the Traveler had an enemy. A darkness, which had hunted it eons across the black gulfs of space. Centuries after our golden age began, this darkness found us. And that was the end of everything. A random ghost appears out of nowhere. That is until I found you. We've always known that the darkness would return, to finish what it started. To take our home. That's why I've been looking for you, for centuries. There are only a few of you that carry the light of the traveler. Who have the strength to fight the darkness. I'm not going to lie to you, Guardian. You are Earth's last hope. If you fail, everything you know, everything humans have ever known, will be gone forever. So you know, no pressure. Disclaimer end. Cosmodrome, Old Russia, Earth. The sun was high and the air breezed through the rusted cars and flowing water. Bridges were collapsing from not being repaired for a long time. Windows and doors squeaked when they were pushed slightly by the wind. This place is known as the Cosmodrome. The very place a legend will be reborn. This is humanity's last hope. We just hope he's enough. The soothing sounds of nature were interrupted by a scanning sequence. This sound was coming from a cube that seems to be searching for something, or someone. This cube is known as a ghost. A ghost is sent out from the traveler in order to look for people to use its light as a weapon. To become a guardian. Sigh, this is just my day. I'm in enemy territory and is most likely to get captured if I don't find the person I'm looking for. The wandering ghost was not liking the situation he was in. This is exactly how some of its brethren got captured, and he's doing the same thing. Not too far away from the ghost's known location, was a group of fallen. Well, specifically a fallen captain, Dreg, and Vandal. They were tailing the ghost in order to capture it, and it seems like they finally cornered it. With the fallen captain confirming that it was their target, he sent a roar signaling his group to move out. Ignoring the loud roar from a distance, Ghost finally seemed to have found the person it was looking for. Is it possible? Ghost splits himself apart in order to get ready for the resurrection just in case he found the right person. And so it resurrected him. There you are. He sent a powerful wave causing the area to turn white for a while. Forming his body back together, Ghost watched as the person he resurrected stirred as he tried to stand up. Guardian. Guardian? It asks, eyes up, Guardian? Ow, my head. Naruto grabs his head in pain. Ghost ignored what he said. He was so astonished on finally reviving the person he was looking for. It worked. You're alive. Of course I'm alive. Naruto whined. He then stopped, realizing that he was indeed alive. Wait a minute. He started to touch his body all over from head to toe. I'm alive? How am I alive? That would be because of me. Ghost interrupted. How did you revive me? He asked. Ghost was about to reply, but Naruto beat him to it. You know what I don't want to know. Seeing that he doesn't want to know what happened, Ghost took the conversation elsewhere. This is great. I finally found you. You don't know how long I've been looking for you. Oh yeah, how long? Naruto questions. A few centuries, Ghost flat out replied. Wow. That's long. Naruto looked around the place he was at and remembered that this place was the exact place the battle took place. Well, it didn't look the same anymore with all the gigantic holes filled with water behind him. So what exactly are you? I never seen anything like you before. Well, I'm a ghost. Actually now I'm your ghost. And you've been dead for a long time. So you're probably going to see a lot of things you won't understand. A loud roar from a fallen captain was heard in the distance from the place they were at now. This is fallen territory. We aren't safe here. Ghost was worried, not only because they were in enemy territory but his now partner didn't have a weapon with him. Things just went downhill fast. PSSH, you don't have to tell me twice. Naruto got up from his sitting position and looked around trying to find the fallen that just roared not too long ago. Before they could start moving, Naruto's stomach let out a loud deep grumble. Naruto's hunger sound eventually scared off the fallen that were closing up on them. Hee, I'm pretty hungry. Naruto rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. I'm pretty sure we have food back at the tower. With that said, the two prepared to take off from this abandoned area. We see Naruto and his ghost walking down a path filled with old rusted cars until they heard a roar of more fallen nearby. I have to get you to the city, Ghost said. Pick up the pace then, Naruto said annoyingly. Wait, hold still. Ghost told Naruto and then suddenly disappears in front of him. Huh, Ghost, where did you go? Naruto worryingly looked around trying to find him. Don't worry, I'm still with you. We need to move, fast, Ghost replied. Okay then. But where are you? As Naruto asked him where he was, He started to run toward the ship hangar. Well, you could say that I'm speaking inside of your mind, Ghost answered. Alright then, it's not like you can be useful, he thought. Hey, I heard that and I'll let you know that I can be useful anytime a guardian needs it. Ghost said in a hurtful tone. Yeah right, I bet I can make it back to the city without your help, Naruto stated confidently as he entered the hangar. Alright Mr. Know-It-All, let's see how long you can last without my help. His partner said in an irritated voice as he saw it was getting darker the deeper they went in. It's getting a little dark but I can manage. Naruto thought in his head, not knowing he was about to stub his big toe against a table. As soon as he stubbed it he yelled in pain. Mother of F*** in balls. A wee-ow 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 wee-ow-ee, he rapidly said as he jumped up and down like a little girl. Inside of his mind Ghost laughed as he saw his partner whining like a kid on how much it hurt. Oh, shut up you. Naruto said with his eyebrow twitching as he heard his partner laughed like he never laughed before. Not my fault it's pitch black in here for you to see anywhere. Ghost said as he finished laughing. Sigh, I never thought I would say this but can you help me even though I said I didn't need your help? Naruto said in an irritated yet apologetic tone. Alright but you better hang tight. Fallen thrive in the dark. We need more light. I'll see what I can do, Ghost stated in a serious attitude. Oh great, thanks for the late warning. Naruto said as he heard that he could have easily died if he went further. Hey you never asked, Ghost countered with a smirk on his face even he can't show any facial features. Hey does that mean if I die, you die with me cause we're like connected? Naruto questioned curiously. I don't have an answer for that but I hope it's not true. Replied Ghost in the same curious tone as Naruto. When Ghost finished talking he managed to bring power back to the area and found that there were about a dozen of Fallen making their way across a bridge to them. He immediately went back to his partner not after spotting a rifle on his left. Here, I found a rifle. Grab it, Ghost said as he disappeared back into Naruto's head. I hope you know how to use that thing. Of course I know how to use it, Naruto said as he shot 2 dregs in the head while spraying bullets all over a vandal's body. 5 minutes later. Look, a loot cache. Let's see what inside, Ghost told his partner. Alright but how do you open it? Naruto asks Ghost. How should I know? Try to figure something out. Ghost answered Naruto. Sigh. Fine, Naruto said and looked to his left to see a big rock. He immediately got an idea and went to grab the rock and lift it over his head and walk back to the loot cache. Oh no, not the face. The loot cache thought as he knew what the mysterious stranger was about to do. I have the power, Naruto yelled as he swung the rock on top of the loot cache ending its life. Poor loot cache, Ghost said. Well at least it's not alive, he said to Naruto. That's stupid, why would it be alive, said Naruto as he took a Calcutta R2 sniper and 300 glimmer out of the loot cache, not knowing he will have a bad situation in the future. He left with his partner as he was done on getting everything he needed out of it. Time skip 20 minutes later at the new divide, Old Russia. This was an old cosmodrome. There's got to be something out there we can fly, Ghost said in hope of finding a ship. Incoming Fallen ships, Ghost said as he spotted a few coming to drop off Fallen. Damn it, I'm gonna have to make a run for it. I'm too low on ammo, Naruto said as he ran through the field dodging bullets left and right. Time skip 2 minutes later in a random ship hangar. There's a ship, clear them out, Ghost said in an excited yet worried voice. Excited because they found a ship and worried because it might have been destroyed since Fallen were messing with it. Naruto nodded as he started to take down Fallen with his extremely manly poses he's been doing. It was so manly that they eventually pass out because their manliness were too low. Well that was easy, Naruto and Ghost said simultaneously as they walked past the unconscious bodies of vandals, dregs, and a captain. Ghost immediately went up to analyze the ship's condition. It's been here a while. It hasn't made a jump in a few centuries. We're lucky the Fallen haven't completely picked it clean, Ghost said. Please tell me she can fly, Naruto said in a worried tone. I can make her work, Ghost said as disappeared inside and started to activate. Naruto was about to enter until he smelled something very familiar behind him. He immediately turned around and saw a cup of cooked ramen placed under a big hole. He was about to jump at it until an archon came out of the hole and jumped on top of it. Naruto watched in horror as he watched Ramen Senpai destroyed right in front of him. After he got out of his shock, he immediately looked at the Archon with a very fierce glare. "You," Naruto said angrily as he witnessed on what the Archon did to Ramen-senpai. "Oh," Ghost said as he saw what happened. "I'll kill you," Naruto said as he jumped at the Archon but disappeared as he heard Ghost say, "I'm teleporting you inside now." "Let me at him," Naruto yelled as he desperately tried to get out of the seat he was tied on. "I'll shove all four of his arms up his asterisk as his parents and family watches. We can come back for them when you're ready, but first let's get you home," Ghost said as he launched the ship to the city. The last words old Russia heard was how Naruto would get his revenge even if he has to go through an army of fallen. As they left, they never noticed that they were being watched by a mysterious person on top of the roof. "What a crazy guardian," she said as she walked away to who knows where. Naruto was holding on for dear life as he saw they were going through a dangerous storm while his partner was heading to their destination. "Ghost, are you sure we'll be alright?" Naruto said as he saw that they almost got hit by lightning. 25% positive. Ghost replied in a neutral tone, "So don't worry. What about the other 75%? Naruto asked even though he feels like wouldn't get the answer he wanted. "Air. We would probably get knocked out of the sky and die a horrible death." Ghost answered, "Oh God, if we make it past the storm I will kill you myself." He states angrily at his partner as they were almost out of the storm. "No, you wouldn't. I know you love me and won't land a finger on me. Also, if I died, who's gonna lead you the way to the ramen shop?" Ghost said as a confident and teasing tone. "Yeah, you're right that I wouldn't kill you, but I would beat the shish asterisk out of you," Naruto annoyingly said as he saw that they exited the storm and into the side of the city with a huge ball over it. "Wow, it's bigger than Konoha," Naruto thought out loud, thinking his partner didn't hear him. "What's Konoha?" his partner asked curiously, wanting to know more. "Let's just say that I don't want to remember that place at all and I'll tell you later," Naruto said in a saddened attitude, but it didn't go unnoticed by Ghost. "Alright then," Ghost said as they landed at the tower filled with a few guardians. "Welcome to the last safe city on Earth, the only place the traveler can still protect," Ghost said as they turned around to take a good view of the city. "It took centuries to build. Now, we're counting every day it stands." After he was down, he turned back toward the place they landed on. "And this tower is where the guardians live," Ghost said. "Come on, let's go see Ikora Ray." Ghost motioned Naruto to follow him. "Wow, you definitely need better armor." As they walked downstairs and they found their warlock mentor talking with Commander Zavala, Awoken Titan, and Cyde6, Exo Hunter, around a huge table filled with maps and destinations with paperwork. "Holy shish asterisk, what the heck are you two?" Naruto curiously said as he pointed his fingers to Commander Zavala and Cyde6. Ikora tried to hold in her laughter but failed as she saw the annoyed expression on their faces. "I never thought I would hear those words again from any guardian," Commander Zavala said. "You're telling me, buddy, the first and last time we heard those words are when we partnered up with Ikora?" Cyde6 says in an annoyed expression for hearing those words again. "Not my fault, I never saw your races before," Ikora Ray said as she turned her way to Naruto when she was done laughing. "Hello young guardian, these two people are my team. The white-faced person with white armor is Commander Zavala and the robotic blue-faced person with the hood is Xanto. The name's Naruto Uzumaki, but that doesn't tell me what race you guys are," Naruto asks curiously. "I'm an Awoken and was resurrected as a Titan young guardian," Commander Zavala responded in his calming voice. "And I'm an Exo resurrected as a hunter, remember it Fishcake," Cyde6 said annoyingly while Naruto twitched his eye. "It means male storm Wonder Boy," Naruto angrily countered. "Who are you calling Wonder Boy?" "That's it, let me at him," Cyde6 said as he and Naruto were about to start a fight, but was held back by Commander Zavala while Naruto was held back by Ikora. "You two can settle your brawl elsewhere but not now," Ikora said as she let go, calming Naruto. "I believe you didn't come down here to greet us garden." "So what do you need?" Ikora curiously asked. "Yay, I came here to get new armor if you have any," Naruto asks politely yet still annoyed at Xanto. "I don't have any free armor right now, but I can give you a nemesis plane for 100 glimmer," Ikora said. "Wow, I heard from Ghost that you only can get rare armor if our mentor thinks we're ready for it," Naruto surprisingly said as he examined the piece of chest armor. Well, I can sell it to you just because you were the first person that made me laugh, so think of it as a reward. Ikora said. Alright, I'll buy it off of you. Naruto said as he pulled out 100 glimmer out of his pocket. You a very lucky guardian indeed. I usually sell it for 950-1200 glimmer to other guardians anyway here, and be careful out there. Ikora said as she handed it to Naruto and he started to walk way out of sight. I think Wonder Boy is a very fitting title for you CAYDE6. Don't you agree, Commander Zavala? Ikora stated as she looked toward both of her teammates. Indeed, it fits you. Commander Zavala replied as he and Ikora started to laugh. OF **** both of you. Cade 6 said annoyingly. No thank you. They simultaneously replied. Grunt, and then they went back to whatever they were doing. Outside the tower. Now that's taken care of, head toward the gunsmith and pick out a gun. Ghost said as he chuckled in amusement as he saw what happened between Naruto and the three guardian mentors. Alright then, Naruto said as he located the gunsmith and headed there. What do you need, guardian? The Exo said. And the name Banshee 44. Do you have any weapons in stock here, cause mine is pretty useless since it's old? Naruto said as he looked around. Ah yes, Naruto. I do have some. Naruto immediately looked at Banshee 44 with caution. How do you know my name? I never told you. Chuckle, I saw what happened between you and CAYDE6 and was amused by it, so pick anything you like, it's on the house. Banshee 44 replied. Oh, okay, just wondering. Naruto said and immediately caught his eye on a certain weapon but didn't go unnoticed by Banshee. A Trax Calum 1 scout rifle. A good weapon for long distance and knocking heads off. Banshee stated as he went to the weapon, picked it up and handed it to Naruto. Here, take it and come back whenever you want or need a new weapon. Thanks, I'll see you around. Naruto said as he walked away. I think I found my number one customer. Banshee 44 mumbled to himself as he went to another guardian to see what weapon he would like. Time skip 2 minutes later. Alright, now all we need to does is get our ship repaired. See, let's find a shipwright, Ghost said as he told Naruto where to go find one. Hey buddy, need any help? He heard a woman call out to him. Yeah, I'm looking for a shipwright, do you know where I can find one? Naruto asks. Well, it's your lucky day cause you're talking to one. The woman said. The name's Amanda Holiday. She said, the name's Naruto. He said as he walked up the stairs to her. Say, are you a new guardian here? I haven't seen your face here at all. Amanda said. Yeah, I just landed here about an hour ago. He replied. Alright then, so what do you need? Amanda asks, getting her stuff ready. I need my ship repaired so she can go into orbit. Naruto said. So you think I can do it? He asks. Think I can do it? PSSH, I've been repairing ships since I can remember. Amanda replied as she toured the ship repairs. My ship's an Arcadia ship and has some orange, Naruto told her. Alright, I'll tell you when I'm finished. Which is about an hour. She said as she left. Alright, Naruto said as she saw her walk away, carry her toolbox. Time skip 1 hour later. Naruto came back and saw her sleeping on a pile of boxes. I wonder how long she's been waiting. He thought as he began to shake her. Oh Naruto, it's just you. Amanda said as she yawned. Of course it is. How long have you been finished? He asks her as she began to stretch her muscles. About 10 minutes ago. I would have gone and get you, but I was tired and decided to take a nap. She said as she sat down on the boxes she slept on. Wow, I should have came earlier. Anyway, how much will it cost? He asked her. It's on the house. Amanda said in a bored tone. Are you sure? He asked her. Yay, definitely, just let me be your personal shipwright and we'll be even. She told him in a bit of hope. Alright then, I can deal with that, Naruto said and walks away from a tired Amanda. I'll see you around, Amanda. You to Naruto. She replied to him as she saw him walk away. Something tells me he'll do amazing things out there. She mumbled to herself. Back with Naruto and Ghost. Okay, it looks like we have the things we need to take down that Archon we saw. Ghost said as he checked what Naruto has. Finally, well, come on, let's go to orbit. Naruto says as he and Ghost disappeared from the tower and appeared in their ship orbiting around Earth. Wow, so this is what Earth looks like. Naruto says in awe as he looked through the ship. Yeah, how big our solar system is, right? Ghost said astonishingly. Anyway, let's go back to Earth and take down that Archon before it can cause trouble. As soon as he remembered about Ramen Senpai getting squished by the Archon, he suddenly started to chuckle evilly. Oh, how I will have my revenge very soon. Wow, he is really devastated on what happened back in old Russia. Ghost said as he set the coordinates back to old Russia. Suddenly I feel bad about the Archon on getting Naruto wrath even though it's our enemy. Somewhere in old Russia, the Archon suddenly felt a shiver down its spine on something that will happen to himself later on in the future. So he sent some Shanks, dregs, and vandals to guard the outside of the hole. Naruto and Ghost headed back to the Cosmodrome with Naruto trying to think of ways to kill the Archon and Ghost feeling bad for it. Ghost suddenly realized what they need to add to the ship to get travel long distances quickly. There is so little left out there. We were lucky enough to find this ship. A guardian can't do much to protect the city without one. Ghost said as he went through the supplies, again, they got from the tower. Y'all think, I wouldn't want to walk all the way there. Did you even see the distance we traveled from the ship there? Naruto asks as he thought about the terrains they went through just to reach the city, but unfortunately his ghost wasn't listening to him at all. This ship needs a warp drive if we ever hope to fight beyond Earth, and that Cosmodrome is the only place I know where we could find one. We survived the Fallen once, we can do it again. Ghost finished talking as he saw that they reached their destination. Really? You didn't even listen to a word I said, didn't you? Naruto annoyingly said as he grabbed his weapons. Sorry, I got lost in my thoughts. Ghost replied as he teleported Naruto and himself out of their ship. Yeah, whatever you say. Now where do we go first? Naruto asked as he checked his surroundings and saw there were Fallen everywhere. I received information from the tower that a guardian ship was recently shot down here. If the Fallen haven't gotten to it, there might be parts that we can salvage. Ghost said as he scanned the area to locate it. Try over there, I see smoke. Naruto didn't even need to have him finish his sentence since he saw it since they landed and went to check over it. Ghost suddenly appeared from the ship and started to scan it to see if they can find anything useful. The ship's avionics are completely catalonic. But I can call their last transmission. Ghost mumbles to himself, but Naruto thought he was talking to him. The ship's what now? Naruto confusingly asks Ghost since he doesn't understand what was happening. Never mind, Ghost replied, and the ship starts to make static noise that sound like someone's communicating with another person. But Naruto didn't think of it like that, but instead ran as fast as he could and his behind the nearest Ghost, sniffling about ghosts coming to get him. Ghost found this amusing and decided to take a picture while Naruto rocked back and forth, obviously paranoid. Oh, how he can make Naruto do anything he wants now since he has something like this, and started to laugh evilly inside his head. Ghost got all the information he needed out of the ship and returned back to the still frightened Naruto. They managed to establish an information hub here down in the tunnels below. We should check it out, Ghost said, and somehow managed to get Naruto back to the way he was. Alright, let's go, Naruto said as he started to shoot some vandals and drag next to an entrance that leads downstairs. As Naruto descended downstairs, he heard more Fallen in the room they need to go in. Shish, be quiet and be careful not to damage anything in there that we could use, Ghost said as he informed Naruto about how many Fallen there are in there. Don't worry, I got this, Naruto said and stealthily took out every single Fallen in the area without any noise. Wow, this is the first time a guardian decided to take out its enemies without going loud, Ghost said amusingly as he witnessed what Naruto did. Why thank you, I'm pretty unpredictable to everybody. They think I'll do this and I do the opposite of it, Naruto says as he sat down on a table. Now scan whatever you need to scan with scanny toy thingy you used there. Yeah, I'll pretend I didn't hear that, Ghost said as he started to search for anything useful. What we need is a warp drive so we can jump to any planet or moon. As soon as he said that, Naruto's eyes widened. Wait, so you're saying we can go anywhere in the entire solar system? Naruto said as he got stars in his eyes. Exactly, this will be a lot of fun, Ghost said, and suddenly felt a little scared when he finished scanning the advanced computer thingy. Our only hope is where we found our ship. We have to go back. Yes, let's go visit Mr. Archon, shall we? Naruto says as he started to head back upstairs with evil smirk. He'll be so happy to meet us again. Oh boy, something tells me that this will end horribly for the Archon, Ghost said as he disappeared from sight. Time skipped near the Archon. Scanning for the warp drive. Bad news, it's already in fallen hands, Ghost said as Naruto walked down the steps with the same evil smirk he has on his face. Good, it'll just make it more of a thrill, Naruto said as he started to shoot vandals, dregs and shanks until the Archon came out. Unfortunately, he didn't have to wait that long as he heard loud footsteps. It's in the wall, Ghost warned Naruto as he came out with more dregs, and Fallen were about to attack until the Devil Archon told them to stand their ground and don't fire. So we meet again, Mr. Archon, Naruto said as they both started to circle around each other. Growl, it replied as they both reeled back their hands attempting to hit each other. Nobody can move a muscle as they watch the amazing battle that was about to happen in slow motion. Rock, paper, scissors, they both said, or at least Naruto said, as they both hold out their hands, having the Archon holding his hands out with rock and Naruto holding scissors. Best 2 out of 3. Naruto said, and both of them did it again, but instead Naruto has scissors and Archon has paper. Wanna go one more time? Naruto asks, and for the Archon to nod its head yes. Of course Naruto won again, and the spectators, such as Ghost and the Fallen, can only sweat drop as they witness the childish scene they were witnessing. Naruto unfortunately started to chuckle evilly. Prepare your anus, Archon, he said. The Archon was shivering in the corner of the room with fear in its eyes. You guys can figure out what happened next. For those of you who don't know, Naruto shoved all 4 of his hands in his rear. For those kids who read this, it is rated K+, meaning not all of it's for kids. Ghost started laughing as they both disappeared to their ship and was glad that he recorded the whole thing. You just humiliated an Archon and got a warp drive. This can cripple the Fallen. We need to go see the speaker. Alright, let's go, but first I'll see if Amanda will install this for me before we head there, Naruto said as they headed back to the tower. That's a right with me, Ghost said as he saw Naruto shut his eyes for a bit, needing a bit of rest before he talks with the speaker. 1 hour later in Destiny time, our time is 45 seconds to a minute. Naruto, wake up, we're here, Ghost said as he shakes Naruto awake. Stop it, Ramen Senpai, you make me feel like jelly, Naruto said in his sleep as he slaps Ghost away onto the ground. Ow, that hurts, Ghost whined as he starts to rise his back up and shook the pain away. Now you're going to get it. As he went to get a gallon of water and came back just to pour it all over his face, not even stopping for him to breath. Cough cough, what the hell, Ghost? Cough, Naruto said as he tried to catch his breath. Well, that's for slapping me when I tried to wake you up just to tell you that we're here, Ghost said irritatedly as he put away some spin metal they found on the Cosmodrome. Anyway, hurry up and go give Amanda that warp drive so we can go see the speaker. Alright then, sheesh, Naruto said as he exited his ship and walked over to the place Amanda should be in. 5 minutes later, Naruto finds Amanda sitting on a box as usual, lost in her own thoughts. She didn't even notice Naruto until he was right in front of her. Hey Naruto, when did you get here? Amanda asks as she saw Naruto was searching for something in his pocket. I just got here about 15 minutes ago. I've been out in the Cosmodrome for a while, he replied as he still searched for the warp dive. Huh, I heard there were more Fallen appearing there at the moment, Amanda said in a worried tone. So how did it go? It went well, and they started to retreat from the area since I defeated Rixus, the devil replied, still searching for the warp drive. You defeated an Archon? Wow, talk about beginner's luck, Amanda said in surprise that he defeated an Archon by himself. Well, I wouldn't say I defeated him, but humiliated him in front of the other Fallen when I defeated him in a game of rock, paper, scissors, Naruto said, causing Amanda to sweat drop. You're kidding, right? She asks, thinking it was a joke. I need to see it to believe it, so I can't say I believe you yet. Well, you're in luck, I'll come back with Ghost so he can show you. Glad he decided to record the entire thing, Naruto said and hands Amanda a warp drive with 1000 glimmer. Also, I need you to install this warp drive to my ship when you get the chance. I'm on it. I got nothing better to do anyway. Come visit soon again, Amanda said as she waves to him. Don't worry, I'll be back, Naruto said and disappears around the corner. With Naruto and Ghost, you ready to meet the speaker? Ghost asks his partner, getting a nod from him. Alright then, follow me. And they both entered the area the speaker stays in, but never notice him coming down the steps until he spoke. There was a time when we were much more powerful, but that was long ago, the speaker says, causing Naruto to wonder what he meant. Until it wakes and find its voice, I am the one who speaks for the traveler. The speaker continues speaking. You mean that big giant ball that floats over the city? Naruto asks to see if he was correct. Yes, indeed, that is the traveler. The speaker answered back. You must have no end of question, Guardian. In its dying breath, the traveler created the ghosts, to seek out those who can wield its light as a weapon, guardians, to protect us, and do what the traveler itself no longer can. The speaker continued as Naruto, Ghost and himself looked towards the traveler. What happened to it? Naruto asks. Surely it can start healing us if we take down something or someone. I don't know what we can do to help heal it. Naruto looks toward the speaker as he continued to talk. I could tell you of the great battle, centuries ago. How the traveler was crippled. I could tell you of the darkness, its ancient enemy. There are many tales told throughout the city to frighten children. Lately those tales have stopped. Now, the children are frightened anyway. The speaker turns around to face Naruto. The darkness is coming back. We will not survive it this time. Its army surrounds us. The fallen are just the beginning. Ghost says worriedly as he thought of what's out there. What can I do to help push it back? Naruto asks as he looked towards the speaker. You must push back the darkness. Guardians are fighting on Earth and beyond. Join them. Your ghost will guide you. I only hope he chose wisely. The speaker then walks away, leaving them alone. Don't worry, I felt something special about you. We're in this together now. Ghost said as they both walked away. I know you did, we're partners all the way and we're sticking to it, Naruto said in response, and then suddenly Ray anyway realized something. I almost forgot. You still have that recording that happened when I humiliated the Archon, right? Yeah, I do. I plan on keeping it for a very long time. Ghost replied. Good, because Amanda wants to see it. Let's go. And they both left back with Amanda. That night was filled with laughter as she and some other people saw what happened to the Devil Archon. Naruto and Ghost had a good time with the people, other guardians in the tower. But unfortunately he has to leave back to the Cosmodrome to help protect the city and threats towards it. Naruto, we have a couple of missions we need to do before we return to the city again, Ghost said as he appeared beside him. Naruto sighed heavily. Okay, let's get this over with. I don't have anything else to do anyway. As he said that, Ghost said the coordinates back to the Cosmodrome. There are reports that Fallen back at the Cosmodrome keeping a pretty tight guard on the old Skywatch. Could be one of their leaders or it could be something valuable. The speaker's asking Guardians to look into it. Ghost said as he went over the reports on what they need to do. When he says he's asking Guardians, does he means us? Naruto asked. Affirmative. Ghost said, you know I wouldn't be surprised if he picked us on everything. We did defeat an Archon. Meh, I can deal with that. Naruto said and teleported out onto the Cosmodrome. Okay, the Skywatch is just on the other sides of the steps. And it's surrounded by Fallen. Well, I'm ready if you are. Ghost said in Naruto's head. So you're too scared to go without me? Naruto asked tauntingly as he refilled his ammunition. Of course I am. I would just get destroyed or captured for information if I went there by myself. Ghost countered, but annoyed that his partner is taunting him. Good point. Let's go. Naruto left and headed towards Skywatch. You know this place must have been amazing before the collapse. Thousands of humans boarding colony ships, off to build cities beyond. Ghost said, and him and his partner thought on how the Cosmodrome would have been like if there were still humans here. Up the hill. The building with the radar, that's the Skywatch. Naruto sighs heavily and whined. We have to walk all the way up there. This sucks. And then started to head there while shooting Fallen that were in his way. Great, 2 vandals and a captain. Just my luck. I'll just run past them. Naruto sprinted past them and turned the corner just in time not to get shot. As Naruto turned another corner, he saw another loot cache, but not a normal one but a goldish yellow loot cache. He went up and opened it up correctly this time, since he saw how people open up theirs back in the tower, and found a note inside it saying, "We will come for you." Naruto just shrugged it off and took whatever he found inside and left, not knowing he was being glared at by the golden loot cache. Hey Ghost, can you unlock this gate for me? Naruto said as he reached a dead end and found that a gate could be opened. Sure, no problem. Ghost said and hacked the gate to open. As he opened it, he immediately felt that they weren't alone in there. Be careful in there. There's lots of motion ahead on my radar. Sure, thanks for the warning. Naruto said as he walked upstairs with a raised scout rifle just in case something popped out and attacked. Naruto suddenly see Thrall coming out of corners and started to run to him in a group. The hive, Ghost said worryingly. Thinking past, he knew he couldn't shoot them all, so he threw a vortex grenade and it started to kill everybody that was inside. All the Thrall eventually got stuck inside it and killed or got blasted through the head by Naruto. Wow, these Thrall sure are a pain in the asterisk when they come after you in groups. Naruto said as he tried to catch his breath. I know, I heard it from other guardians. Ghost said as Naruto quickly walked up the stairs. As he reached the end of it, he immediately detected a wizard. There's a wizard here. You have to kill it. Ghost said worryingly and was responded by the roar of hive thralls and acolytes. Great, more of these things. Naruto said and started to shoot at them. You know you have a Nova bomb ready, right? Ghost asked, but Naruto looked confused. What the hell is that? Naruto asked in confusion. No time to explain. Just jump in the air and focus your energy in the palm of your hand. Once you're done, thrust it forward to a group. Ghost explained as he saw they were getting closer. Okay, Naruto said and did exactly what he did and aimed it to a small group of 5 and launched it towards them. Once it hit the floor, it immediately sucked in everything that was in range of it and disappeared shortly after. Holy shish, why didn't you tell me I could do that? Naruto asked angrily at Ghost. I thought you knew it already. All of the guardians know about it when they get revived. Ghost said a little scared. No, I didn't. So what else can I do, like glide up into the air as far as possible and land on the ground hard without taking damage or much damage? Naruto sarcastically asks, but to his surprise Ghost just nodded his head yes. Okay, didn't expect that, but how about teleport at least a short distance though? Naruto asked. Well, only warlocks and hunters can teleport in a short distance, but titans can't. Ghost answered back. But let's take care of that wizard first before we talk about it. Okay, it's dead. Naruto said as he shot the wizard in the head without looking. Now tell me everything you know about warlocks, titans, and hunters. Ghost sighed to himself and started to explain their abilities. Time skip 1 explanation later. Wow, that's awesome. Naruto said as Ghost finished explaining. I know, you all of them have impressive abilities. Ghost said as he looked at the corpses of the and started to talk. The hive haven't been on Earth in centuries. The darkness could be a lot closer than we think. We should probably get moving. Wow, that sucks, Naruto said. So what mission do we do now? Naruto asked and turned to his partner. Well, the Vanguard's reporting that the Fallen are tearing into machines all over the Cosmodrome. I'm starting to think that they aren't just looting the place. Whatever they're looking for, we should probably find it first. Ghost said as they walked out of Skywatch and back into the open. I'm picking up heavy Fallen activity near the Forgotten Shore, but that's miles from here. I saw a vehicle grid back there. We sync to that. We can summon ground transport from our ship. Let's go. And you tell me that we can get transport now because? Naruto asked, annoyed that he had to run all the way towards the Skywatch when he could have get transportation from a back there. Hey, sorry, it slipped my mind. Ghost said awkwardly. But don't get too mad, you'll need to walk a lot when we enter enemy territory. Fine, let's just go get that transport thingy. Naruto said and started to walk back from the direction he came from. Ghost just sighed to himself and said, it's called a sparrow. Whatever, Naruto said annoyingly, which started to envy his Ghost. 5 minutes later at the vehicle grid. Here's the sparrow link, Ghost said as he appeared and started to connect the weird device to the sparrow in their ship. Encoding superposed states, entangling ket vectors, and we're linked. Do you always have to talk to yourself when you do this stuff? Naruto said annoyingly because he didn't understand if what he was saying. Well, no, but I want to. It helps me relax. Ghost replied as he summoned their sparrow and had Naruto get on. Alright, since we got our sparrow, we can be at the Forgotten Shores in seconds. Sweet, let's go, Naruto said and started to head there on his sparrow, but it was difficult for him to control it. No, 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 he said as he almost ran into a wall but instead ran into a dreg, instantly killing it in the process. Sorry, he yelled back to the other Fallen, who just roared in anger for seeing one of their own die and tried to follow him, but the sparrow was too fast. Sheesh, I said sorry and they still try to kill me. Naruto thought out loud. Well, they do hate humans, so they won't even show mercy. Ghost told Naruto as they were about to enter the Forgotten Shores. We're approaching the shore. The Fallen are using some sort of signal amplifiers. Let's see what they're transmitting. Alright, I'm heading there now. Let's just hope we don't get killed. Naruto said as he sped toward the signal amplifier on the ship. Don't worry, we'll do fine. Ghost said as he started to scan the amplifier as Naruto took out Fallen that were about to board the ship. Give me a second. It's some kind of distorted signal. Not Fallen. Let's check the other one. Alright, let's go before more come. Naruto said as he got back on his Sparrow and started to head toward the other signal amplifier. Clear them out so they don't cause any trouble. Ghost said, and Naruto did exactly what he said. God damn, I hate these captains with their force fields around them. Naruto said as he looked around the area for any more Fallen while Ghost scanned the second amplifier. It's the same transmission. They're both linked to something in the Skywatch. Let's go check it out. Ghost said and disappeared from view. Alright, we're heading back to the same place again. Naruto mumbled to himself as he got back on his Sparrow and headed to the Skywatch. Head to that streetway in trance, it'll lead you there anyway, Ghost told Naruto. Alright, this will be fun. Naruto said and headed up the street, into some sort of garage entrance and found Fallen in there waiting for him. These Fallen never learn. Every time they try to kill me they end up losing more of their own. Naruto told Ghost as he shot a few in the head. Apparently so. Well, we never know what they think or do, so let's leave it at that. Ghost replied, and Naruto just simply nodded his head and just killed the rest of them off. After that, Naruto ran up the stairs to find what the signal leads to, only to be greeted by vandals with cloaking abilities around them. Naruto eventually saw their blades and knew something wasn't right and started to shoot at them, causing them to uncloak themselves after dying. They can't even surprise attack me. Wow, these Fallen have gotten bad over the years. Naruto said, but was stopped by Ghost. The Fallen are tapped into something in the back of the room. Ghost said. Like what? Naruto asked as he cleared more Fallen from reaching them. It's probably what the amplifiers lead to, so hurry up before we lose it to the Fallen. Ghost replied as he watched a group of 7 Fallen get sucked into a mini black hole Naruto threw before disappearing. I would be finished by now, but they just keep on coming. Naruto frustratingly said as he meleeed a Dreg when it was about to stab him. This went on for 5 minutes until the servitors said, "What the heck are those?" Naruto asked as he saw some 2 huge eyeball machines shooting at him. Hey Ghost, can you tell your brothers or sisters to stop shooting at me? Naruto asked as he took cover behind a pillar. The only brothers and sisters I have are the ghosts with other guardians. Ghost replied as he saw the servitors. They're probably with the Fallen cause they're not attacking each other. Another guardian said that they were called servitors since they serve for them or something. Well, that's a pain, Naruto said and started to shoot at the middle of its eye. It looks like it's vulnerable at the center of its eye. Well, at least we know how to kill it quickly. Ghost said as he watched Naruto destroy both of the servitors and the rest of the Fallen in the area. I think they stopped coming. Naruto said as he looked around for anybody and trying to hear footsteps from any direction, but apparently nothing happened. Good, they stopped coming. I wouldn't want to fight them all day, and plus I'm almost out of ammunition. Naruto said as he sat down on the stairs. You should go buy some ammo synthesis from Banshee 44. They can fully refill your ammunition when you're out. Ghost said as he appeared out of nowhere and started to scan the device the amplifiers lead to. Yeah, I should get some. I used too much while dealing with these Fallen and I'll probably need some in the future. Naruto said as he watched his partner scan the weird device. Okay, I pulled out everything they managed to steal. We should destroy this thing. Ghost said and saw Naruto used whatever he has left to destroy it. They didn't get much, kept hitting an active firewall. Old Russia, Earth. Ghost got surprised on what he figured out next. The legends are true. A Warmind did survive the collapse. Rasputin. An AI built to defend Earth. He faced the darkness and survived. And he's protecting something here in the Cosmodrome. We have to find a way to reach him. Great, now we're gonna do some more dangerous stuff. Aren't we done anyway? Naruto asked Ghost. Yes, we are, but we're gonna have to come back here as soon as we're down in the tower. There are still stuff we have to do before we take a long break. Ghost said and teleported both of them back to the ship. Okay, let's get this done. I definitely need a break from this Fallen thing. Naruto said as they both appeared back on their ship and headed back towards the tower. We both do, Naruto. We both do. Ghost mumbled. Sweet, I can't wait to take a bath. Naruto yawned and stretches his arms out. I'm so tired. I can tell. But we need to turn this ship around. Ghost stated while he set the coordinates back to the cosmodrome. I just got a message from the tower on something important that we need to claim before the fallen do. Ah man, can we please take a whittle be weak Mr. Guast? Naruto said and stares at him with puppy dog eyes. No, sorry but those puppy dog eyes don't work on us. Ghost said but on the inside he was affected by it but he tried really hard to hide it. Wow, I really thought that would work on you. He sighed and got his gear ready. But I guess it can't be helped. What does the report say? It says that there was a report about a team of guardians who went dark near the old Skywatch. They were running a mission for Dead Orbit, had codes to a hidden array that could reconnect us to other colonies of the system. If we can find their ghosts maybe we can open that array. Once Ghost was finished he saw Naruto sleeping through the report. Oh, I know the perfect way to wake him up, Ghost stated as he smirked and teleported him outside of the ship once they reached the cosmodrome. Once Naruto hit the floor he woke up quickly and looked around and saw that they were back at the cosmodrome. Ghost. Why did you teleport me out of the ship? Naruto said and his eyes started to twitch violently. I would do no such thing. You teleported yourself out, Gist said as he appeared next to his partner. Whatever. What do we need to do? Naruto asked as he reloaded his weapons and Ghost just sighed and told Naruto what happened and what they need to do. Let's see if we can find the other ghosts near the Skywatch. Ghost said and disappeared from view while Naruto got his sparrow out and headed toward the Skywatch. Old Russia, Lunar Complex. We're heading back through that hive breeding ground. The Vanguard says they're spilling out into the surface now. Keeping the Fallen busy, Ghost informed his partner as he shines light so they could see. That's great. More weird aliens to kill. Naruto replied sarcastically as he rolled his eyes between high helmet. We better take missions on other planets soon, it'll be really fun. He thought out loud. But how about the Jovian planets, can we go there yet? I'm not sure. Last time I checked they were still filled with liquid hydrogen. But we can go through the terrestrial planets when we get the chance. Ghost replied. Sweet, I can't wait to go on Mars, I always wanted to see how it looks like with all that red sand. Naruto chirped happily. When we get done with this I'm pretty sure we can head to one of them, but for now let's finish this mission, otherwise it can be a threat in the future. Ghost said and suddenly sees movement in his radar. There are hive in there, they probably know that we're here. I hate fighting in the dark but I really don't have a choice. Naruto stated and started to run to cover not before shooting Thrall that were about to hit him. He decided to take out the acolytes before they started to flank him. In the end there were only 2 thralls that were about to strike him, so he ended up kicking both of them in the groin repeatedly until they fell unconscious from the pain. Did you really have to do that? Ghost asked as he winced from the shrieks the 2 thralls were giving. Hey, they had it coming, Naruto stated with a serious look. Yeah, but that was pretty hard. Ghost stopped as he received a glare from his partner. I'll stop talking. Good, let's go, Naruto said and walked off while Ghost just disappeared from sight. Upstairs. Hold up, Ghost said as he saw that the Fallen and Hive were fighting each other. Let's have them fight it out and then we'll move in and take down whoever's left. Or I could do this, Naruto said and walked through the battlefield and everybody stopped what they were doing and just looked at him. Hello Mr. Thrall and Mr. Acolyte, a good evening we have today, don't we? Naruto said and they both gave a slight bow in response. Mrs. Wizard, looking good as usual. I see that you also changed your style a little, Naruto said as he walked by the wizard and pointed at her. She just looked away from him slightly embarrassed he said. What's up Dreg and Vandal, how's it poppin'? Naruto asked and just received a thumbs up as they leaned against the wall. And finally the one and only Captain, I see that you have your shield on shining bright as ever, Naruto said as the Captain struck a nice guy pose while Naruto started to walk away. As Naruto left the area they went back to whatever they were doing before. Skywatch, Old Russia, Earth. How did you do that? Ghost asked. Oh, I don't know how I did it. I just wanted to try that for some reason, Naruto replied, but as confused as Ghost is. But, hold on, Ghost said as he detected parts of other ghosts nearby. The ghosts, they're in a clearing between buildings not far from here. Alright, let's go Datbeo. Naruto eyes widened while Ghost looked at him in confusion. Hey, I guess I still got that tick. What does that even mean? Ghost asked. Honestly, I don't even know what it means, but I've been saying it since as long as I can remember, Naruto stated, replied as he exited the building. Wait, you can remember your past? Ghost stunningly asked. Yeah, why is that a problem? He asked. Well, it's because when ghosts revive humans, awoken, they only remember their name and the type of guardian they are. I'm sure the lucky one, Naruto said as he rubs the back of his head. We'll talk about this later, but right now the fallen have the ghosts. We need to get them back. As soon as he said that, a vandal let out a roar signaling his kind that a guardian is near. Naruto quickly kills it with a shot to the chest and then head, and the dead vandal drops a dead ghost. It's dead. Keep hunting, we need about 10 of them to find the array. 10 minutes later. This one still holds the codes. Let's find the array. Finally. I thought we would have been here forever. Naruto said as he gave a heavy sigh. We've been here for 10 minutes, Ghost deadpanned. Don't judge me. Naruto shot a quick glare to Ghost. 20 minutes later. We're approaching the control station. This is it. Hey, I was about to say that. Naruto whined and then suddenly sees a fallen ship coming to his area. Looks like we're not alone. As soon as they jumped off, Naruto started to shoot them down with his Kalam scout rifle. Acting wig, Naruto threw a Nova bomb to a group of fallen and instantly started to suck them into the mini black hole. I guess they did have this area guarded after all, he said as he saw that fallen Shanks, Vandals and Dregs Air exiting the hangar armed while the captain stayed behind to guard the hangar. They instantly dropped down to their knees crying when they started to see Naruto flexing like a boss and then fell down to unconsciousness. I loved doing that to them. What a bunch of wimps. He let out a chuckle as Ghost came out. There's the controls. I'll see if the codes still work. Ghost said. Okay. Negotiating crypto systems. Shore resistant security lattice verified. It's working. Seriously, why do you keep talking like that when you get to work? Naruto irritatedly says. It's just a habit, so go complain to the hive that are coming this way. Ghost replied. Outside the array, it's opening. Amazing, it's working. Hive Tomb's ships coming through. Holy st, they came out of this blackish green portal. Naruto said, amazed. No matter, I can take them. Naruto walks out in front of the hive with a staff he magically found and slammed it down to the floor. You shall not pass. I'll shove my fist in your A. He started to yell random words. You there? Yes, you come here so I can tie your ugly face to your wrinkly balls. As soon as he said that, the hive ran away crying back to the soul of Crota and leaving a snickering Naruto as he walked his way back to his partner. You need to see this. So what you got? The array. It's controlled by Rasputin, the last Warmind. He won't let me in. But it's connecting to defense constructs all across the system. There could be something out there. By out there, do you mean these 2 planets and the moon? Naruto said as he pointed to each of them. Yes, we're going to have to go to the moon, Mars, and Venus. Ghost said. Wait, won't we melt in Venus because it's filled with carbon dioxide? Naruto asked. Well, in your time, yeah, but this is the future. Don't you think things will change? Ghost said. Good point. Anyway, let's head back to the tower. We're going to go to the moon first thing tomorrow. Ghost stated. Sweet, let's go, Naruto said as they both teleported back to their ship and started to make their way back to the tower. Well, look who came crawling back out of the sea. Fishcake. Cade 6 smirked. Shut it, Wonder Boy, or am I gonna have to beat your A** that not even the Traveler can prevent. Naruto said as his eye twitched. Why, you little, you wanna go? Bring it. They were suddenly held back by Commander Zavala and Ikora. By the Traveler, you guys act like a bunch of children. The speaker said as he walked into the room. Now what seems to be the problem, or am I gonna have to send you 2 to babysit a group of children while their parents are away? Nothing, speaker, we just had an argument, right, Fishcake? Cade 6 replied as he was set loose by Commander Zavala. That's right, speaker, what Wonder Boy said. Naruto replied as he was let go by Ikora. Alright then, and also Naruto, you've been a great help to us, including the Traveler, and have allowed you to take missions at the moon since there aren't much left at the Cosmodrome and we need those missions for the Guardians who were recently revived, the speaker said. Thank you, speaker, it's been a pleasure serving the Traveler and the last city. May the Traveler guide you, young Guardian, the speaker said and then walked off. And you as well, Naruto whispered. I'll catch you guys later, I need to rest up a bit. Naruto said as he waved behind him to Ikora and the others. The moon, he mumbled as he entered his room. The sun is rising over the last city of Earth, but more importantly it's shining brightly for a certain blonde warlock. We see him exiting his room and heading to the main part of the tower just to gather any supplies he might need during his first mission on the moon. So it's your first mission on the moon? Ikora said as he sold Naruto a rare Nemesis plain boots. Yeah, I always wanted to see how it was like up there. Naruto replied as he put on his boots. Well, you should be careful. There are a lot of hive down in the tunnels beneath the moon. Commander Zavala said as he decided to enter the conversation. I would be careful if I were you, it is your first time heading there. Yes, just be lucky that you weren't one of the guardians that were sent into the pit. Ikora said, I heard that there was a major threat down there that could possibly take over the Earth. Just imagine the type of hive that are down there. What is this pit that you guys are talking about? Naruto curiously asked. It's best you see it with your own eyes. It's truly remarkable, Commander Zavala said. Alright, enough chit-chat over here guys, this is getting annoying. Cade 6 interrupted with an annoyed expression. What's his problem? Naruto asked. Oh, he's just jealous that he wasn't sent down into the pit. Ikora and Zavala simultaneously replied. Hey, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and I bet that I can take on anything down there with a single bullet. Cade 6 stated. The only thing you can take on is the toothpick that's sticking out of your A. Naruto replied with a smirk while Zavala and Ikora snickered at the thought of it. Cade 6 just decided to tackle on Naruto but was held back by Lord Shax, the Crucible handler. This is the most amusing moment I've seen in years, Lord Shax inwardly thought to himself. Guardians. Another fight going on right now. By the Traveler, you guys are little children. The speaker interrupted as he came down th steps. Shut up, old man. Cade 6 yelled out, not realizing who he just yelled OU to. Unfortunately, the speaker just stopped behind Cade 6 that fell on the floor, who was immediately let go by Lord Shax. Cade 6 slowly turned around as he saw everybody in the room was looking behind him, only to meet a very pissed off speaker with a dark aura around him. Mommy. Cade 6 whimpered and cried as he was dragged upstairs and cried, but everybody just followed in amusement. As soon as they reached the end of the balcony, he was immediately thrown out of the tower and fell to his doom. A minute later his ghost spawned on top of the tower and speaker just walked up to it. Ghost, please revive Cade 6 again. Speaker politely asked, and that was exactly what Cade 6 ghost did. He was dragged and thrown out of the tower several more times just for him to learn his lesson. A while later, now did you learn your lesson? A chibi speaker asked a chibi Cayde 6. Hi, the chibi Cade 6 replied. Good, the speaker said and walked towards Naruto and spoke high enough for him to hear without the others noticing. We sent another guardian to the moon before you and we would like to see if she's still alive or dead. The speaker said the last part in a quieter voice. Your ghost will inform you of the details. Yes, speaker. Naruto replied respectively because he didn't want to receive the same punishment as the mentor of hunters, Cayde 6, anytime in the future. He teleported inside of his ship and his ghost right next to him. I've never seen the speaker like that before. Ghost said at what he just witnessed along with his other brothers and sisters. We shouldn't get on his bad side anytime soon. No s asterisk asterisk asterisk, that's as why I was acting polite to him. Naruto said. Anyway, what happened at the moon? We gave up the moon. We hoped that would be enough for them. Ghost replied regrettably. They're never enough when you're fight against two alien species and one of them took over part of Earth. Naruto stated. We should have never given up on the moon. Yeah, I know, but at least it saved us. We might have lost a bunch of valuable information to the hive if we haven't left it. Ghost said. At least the people on the moon took backup files and overwrote the ones in the system. Archer's line, Ocean of Storms, Earth's moon. I used to look up here at night wondering what the hive were doing, but the only activity I could pick up was hazy. Like it was blocked or buried. Ghost stated as he looked in the slightly beat up moon. So that's what you usually do when I'm sleeping. Naruto said. No, I used to do it when I was still searching for you. Ghost replied. I knew that I couldn't get anything useful while I'm at Earth. The only way I can is to be at the moon. Ghost teleported Naruto and himself outside of the ship when they reached the area. So how does it feel like to finally set foot on the moon? Ghost replied as he secretly recorded this moment with Naruto without him knowing it. I have two words for you. F***ing A. Naruto replied with a thumbs up. Hee hee. Ghost chuckled as they went up a hill. The guardian came here, searching for a way into the Hive Fortress, but she just disappeared. Let's pick up her trail. Her last known coordinates are up ahead. Alright, come on, Naruto said and walked in a wide open area. It seems quiet. Too quiet. I know, it's like they're leading us into a trap. Ghost stated. Ghost, is there anything else I need to know about him or her? Naruto asked. Well, his last report was said that he captured this old accelerator from an unknown fallen house. Ghost replied. Good enough, Naruto said as he and his partner entered the Sparrow Link area. Some of this equipment shows recent activity from the Guardian's Ghost. Ghost said as he looked around and started to hack into a computer console. Alright, she was looking for the remains of an old colony base. Not too far. Maybe he's still there. Fallen, we're being hunted. Ghost said, a little worried. Don't worry, I got this, Naruto stated and threw a Axion bolt grenade between two sword vandals. They tried to hide from the grenade, but it just followed them and ended up blowing up in their face, instantly killing them. He then melee a Dreg since it was getting too close to him and shot the second Dreg all over his body. Two more fallen ships reached the area, dropping off a servitor, captain, and more Dreg. Time skip, end of fight. You can grab your Sparrow now. We're linked, Ghost said. Yes. No walking. Naruto inwardly cheered as he got his Sparrow out. Naruto was getting shot at by fallen Dreg that are on pikes. Hey Ghost, what are they on? Naruto asked. That is a pike, it's like our Sparrow but it can shoot arc bullets. Ghost replied. Oh, Naruto replied and he went to drive next to one of them. Hey you. The fallen looked to where Naruto was, only get kicked in the face and falling of the pike while Naruto jumps on it. This is mine now, Naruto said as he drove off, not noticing a crying Dreg reaching out and trying to get his pike back. Anchor of light, ocean of storms, Earth's moon. This is where he was headed. Ghost said, check the tower in the middle. Okay. Naruto glided up into the tower only to meet two F-Talon Dreg that were not expecting him. You have 5 seconds to leave. FIV. They were gone before he finished one more word. Looks like she set up camp here, Ghost said as he surveyed the area and then started to scan the console they used. Let's see what they got. Her notes. They're all about a place called the Temple of Crota. Ghost said, saw little amused. It's not too far from here. Sounds like a death trip. I love a death trip, Naruto said. Yeah, you're crazy though, Ghost responded, and not the good kind. Rude, he muttered. Head past the fallen and make it quick, Ghost said. They're not worth our time. Naruto quickly ran past the fallen without alarming them of his arrival and angered a narrowed path. The ground here is hollowed out for miles, Ghost proclaimed as he detected a lot of movement activity below them. Who knows what's happening between your feet? Ogre taming, Naruto replied. Really? No, just a guess, Naruto replied as they made it out into a clearing, finding a temple. I think we found the temple, Ghost said as they made their way down towards it until Ghost spots a body in front of the temple. Up ahead, Guardian down. Naruto rushed up to the body thinking she was still alive, only to find out that she wasn't breathing. No, Naruto yelled and punched a boulder on his right, which broke into pieces. Unfortunately for Ghost, he saw what Naruto did and was shocked to see the boulder crumbled down like nothing. It was impossible for a Guardian to break a boulder with one punch. Not even a very high-class Titan could do that. But he decided to hold it off for later. Judging by the look of her body, she probably died about a day ago, Ghost said as he analyzed her body. But she still has a little bit of light left in her. She could still survive if we get her Ghost up. But where is it? Ghost said as he looked around. Naruto heard a slight noise behind him and turned to see someone else watching him. He knew she wasn't a Guardian because he can't feel any light on her. He was about to call at her only for him to hear a slight unlocking behind him and turned to look at what happened. He turned back to where she was only to find that it was completely empty. We may want to move back, Ghost said, and they both backed up with caution as it unlocked its final lock and opened up. We've awoken the hive, Ghost shouted as he saw a thrall coming out. Bad idea, Naruto said as he saw every single thrall come out in a group. He immediately chucked a Nova Bomb in the middle of the group, which sucked them all up. Naruto shot the knight repeatedly on his helmet, which eventually killed him since every blast weakened his helmet's strength. He immediately destroyed, killed the rest of the hive and Varrock. Spawn who teleported inside the area through wet mud, something like that. The ghost was nearly dead. Good thing we made it. Ghost sighed in relief. Let's bring him back to his guardian so they can recover. They can't heal properly when they're far away. They both walked to where the guardian was and placed his ghost on top of him and waited for them to regain conscious. 2 hours later, Naruto and his ghost were sitting patiently waiting for those two to wake up. They suddenly hear a stirring sound and look to see that she was waking up. What happened? She said as she got up, and it only took her a second to remember what happened and instantly yelled for his partner. Ghost, where are you? Don't worry, he's resting up right here. Naruto said as he pointed to the ghost in his hands. He took quite the damage when you were dead. Well, almost dead. Thank you. She sobbed a little. What happened to him anyway? Well, once you were almost dead, they took him since he couldn't be protected anymore, and they started to force information out of his system. Naruto said as he placed her ghost down. Thankfully he hasn't been breached when my ghost scanned him, so the hive couldn't get anything good out of him. That's right, Naruto's ghost said. It would take months of hacking for them to take anything out of us while we're alive or dead, he stated. I read some of his memories though as I scanned him. The hive are raising an army here, preparing to invade Earth. We need to stop them before they come for us. I have plenty of missions here to slow them down, but sadly I'm in no condition to continue. She sighed sadly. Take them and see what you need to do. I will be returning to Earth very shortly. She gave the file missions to Naruto. Sweet, more things to do before we head back. Naruto said as he scanned through them as the woman summoned her sparrow and gets on it. She was about to leave with her ghost, but not until she knows this guardian's name. Before I go, I want to know your name. Naruto stops scanning through the details and looks at her. My name's Naruto, a warlock part of the human race. He replied, smiling a little under his helmet. My name's Shannon, a hunter part of the awoken race. She replied, smiling a little behind her helmet. As they finish talking, she turns and speeds away on her sparrow. I wonder how he looks like under that helmet. Were the thought of both of them before they were nowhere near in sight. Naruto looked back at one mission and then at his ghost before tossing a file at him. We're doing this first, he said. Ghost looked at the title of the file and doesn't like what it says. I don't like this title, it sounds rather disturbing. He shivered at the title of it before the file disappeared, and he turned back to Naruto as he spoke. I like the title though, it sounds more like a suicide mission. Naruto said as he headed toward his destination. Let's go complete the world's grave. Ghost, what's wrong, buddy? Naruto says because Ghost been in thought for a while already. Ghost snapped out of thought as he heard Naruto and figured he could use some help from his partner. There's got to be a way to find out what the hive were planning. The ghost we saved showed that it was some sort of library. It said to hold everything they know of Earth. He stopped and looked at Naruto. If you can get us down there, I'll steal everything I can. Alright, I can do that. But do you know where it is, because I'm lost? Naruto said as he stopped in the middle of a pathway. So you're telling me that you were walking randomly, not even knowing what direction you were headed? Ghost replied and sweat dropped. Yeah, pretty much. Why did I revive such an idiotic guardian? Ghost sighed to himself but didn't notice the tick mark that formed on Naruto's head. Where do we go since you know the direction we're supposed to head? Naruto said. The world's grave is deeper in the hive's fortress. Ghost stated. Any major threats? Naruto asked. Well, according to the ghost we saved, there's an ancient knight who protects it. Ghost said, and Naruto was about to ask him something else, but he cut him off before he could ask. I can lead us to him, but you'll have to face him to find the grave. Alright then, let's go. Naruto said and got his sparrow out and sparrowed away to their destination. Archer's Line, Ocean of Storms, the moon. Hold up. Ghost told his partner as they were about to enter a small building. There's enemy movement up ahead. A total of group of 6 and 2 more a little farther from them. They seem to be fighting. Naruto stealthily approached the area and found the group of 6 fallen, 3 dregs, 2 vandals, and 1 shank, fighting 2 hallowed knights. It seems you're right. What do you suggest we do since they don't look in the mood for sweet talk? Naruto said. I thought you would do that again since it worked a bunch of times back on the Cosmodrome. Ghost said as he looked at his partner. Yes, it did work, but these guys right here look like they only want to kill something real bad, and I'm not taking the chance of getting shot at on all sides. Naruto explained and took out his scout rifle. Figures. Ghost sighed. Let's sneak past them since they're too busy fighting each other. I could see the entrance to the fortress from here. They're just right past those two knights. They both sneaked past them with Naruto having his scout rifle pointed at them just in case they were spotted. They nearly got caught when Naruto had to glide up over the small cliff just to reach the entrance. Sweet, we're inside of the moon, but it still sucks that it's enemy territory. Naruto said as a grin came over his face inside of his helmet. I know, the hive really tore into the moon. Filled it with all sorts of catacombs and chambers, Ghost said as he looked over the edge on his left and saw a hug. He dropped to the end of the stairway. That's a long drop. I say we jump down to make this mission quicker. Naruto said and looked at his partner. No thank you, I would rather take the safer route down, Ghost said as he motioned his cubic body toward the steps. Besides, I wouldn't risk my Lee. He didn't finish as he felt Naruto grab him and jump down carrying him in his palms. Ah! Ghost screamed as they were about to hit the floor killing themselves, but Naruto's levitated in the final seconded so they wouldn't take any damage. Ghost took a couple deep breaths, if they could even breathe, before he glared at Naruto. Don't ever do that again unless if it's an emergency. Hey, that was fun, Naruto chuckled at the feeling of it. Yeah, Ghost sarcastically said. Let's get this done so we can move on to our next mission. Alrighty then, Naruto said as he went through another passage. Onward, my friend. He marched through the caves, disappearing out of Ghost's view. Why do I feel like this will happen more often? Vault of glass, Ghost sighed to himself as he quickly followed Naruto. Hall of wisdom, ocean of storms, Earth's moon. Whoa, hold it, Naruto said as he turned a corner. Only to see a bunch of hive. There's a lot of hive here. What do you suggest we do? He looked at Ghost. There's too many of them to take down with your sniper rifle since they'll slowly advance toward you when you reload and will start running towards you when you out of sniper ammo. Ghost said, it's a necropolis down here. Only if we had a disguise for you. Naruto suddenly had an idea and started to find the nearest acolyte that's alone. He spotted one with his back turned towards him and sneaked up towards him just to hit him in the back of its neck, knocking out the acolyte and dragged him back towards Ghost. What are you doing with that? Ghost asked as he saw him drag an acolyte 8E back towards him. I'm going to put his armor over my armor so they think I'm one of them. Naruto said and started to remove the armor out of the unconscious acolyte. Why don't you take off your armor? Ghost pointed out. Really? Naruto said as he looked at Ghost with a deadpan expression. Oh, that's right, you'll die if you remove your helmet since the moon has no atmosphere. Ghost said. Exactly. Naruto said as he puts the acolyte's armor over his own. And I thought you were the smarter one. Hey, it slipped my mind. I forgot all about that these past few centuries. Ghost said embarrassingly. So you could hack into devices in seconds but you can't remember something simple about us humans? Naruto hurtfully asked as he pouted, meanie. Hey, I said it slipped through my mind. Ghost said. Anyway, how are you supposed to pass them without being compromised since I don't think you can't leave your post without having something valuable? Naruto was thinking how he could leave without being caught and looked around for anything he can use to leave until his eyes landed on Ghost and he just smirked under the two helmets. Why are you looking at me? Ghost asked and Naruto just moved closer to him and he moved back. He eventually couldn't run since his back is pressed against the wall. Mommy, Ghost whimpered. 0.5 minutes later. Oh, I hope this works. Ghost worryingly said. Don't worry. It will work, Naruto said as he walked out of into plain sight so the entire hive could see them and kept walking. So far so good, Ghost mumbled. Naruto was stopped by a knight who started to speak his language at him. He started to point the direction where they were supposed to be at. You ready for this, Ghost? Naruto asked. Bring it. Just try not to mess up when you try to talk to them. Ghost replied. Alright, here goes nothing, Naruto thought and he pulled out Ghost that looked like he got caught. I part of hive. I bring cube. Thingy. God damn it, Naruto, we didn't agree to say that. Ghost yelled and looked at Naruto. Unfortunately, the knight grunted in approval and pointed to where he should take him and just walked off when he finished. You know what, I should stop worrying when I'm with you. You always do the impossible when we're on a mission. Ghost said unsurprisingly as he thought back to their previous missions on Earth. Yeah, those were good times. Anyway, let's get out of here. Naruto said and both him and Ghost entered another cave passage. As they were walking through, Naruto was taking off the acolyte's armor off. "The night is near," Ghost said as he started to detect him, "and it's powerful. Then let's skip him." Naruto concluded, "We don't need to face someone strong right now." "Yes, I know," Ghost said, "but this night holds the key to finding the grave." "I thought you knew where it is," Naruto proclaimed and stopped walking. "No, I don't. This is our first time going down to the Hive Fortress." Ghost reasoned, "Of course I wouldn't know the mapping of this area." "Then how are you any use at all?" Naruto questioned. Hello, I can revive you when we're not deep in enemy territory, and I can hack through circuits in the mere of seconds." Ghost replied. "Good point." Naruto said, "So this night person, we have to kill it, right?" "Affirmative," he responded and started to move forward while Naruto walks behind him. "According to my radar, he's somewhere in the area we're about to enter." Circle of Bones, Ocean of Storms, Earth's Moon. Hive tombships start coming out into the area when they detected a guardian nearby and started to show their slow missiles at Naruto and landing some hives on the platform. "We got company," Ghost said as he saw acolytes started to shoot at them, but unfortunately they were missing bullets real badly. "And they're bad at shooting. Wow, they can't even hit me once with that type of distance," Naruto said as he saw that they were awfully close to him. "Hey, you guys suck at shooting. Why don't you leave before I give you a spanking for showing that awful shooting at me?" They eventually walked away slowly with their head hung down and small dark clouds following them while pouring rain on them. "Okay, they might be our enemy, but that was a little harsh there," Ghost said as he looked at Naruto at the corner of his eye. "Well, it's not my fault." Naruto huffed and turned away from Ghost. "They had to know it sooner or later." "Still, that was pretty mean," Ghost said. "Can we stop talking about this so you can point out where the night is?" Naruto said, annoyed because he always hated it when Ghost brought up things like this. "Well, he's technically called the Graven," Ghost pointed out, "and he's right behind that chamber with bars." "Whatever," Naruto rolled his eyes and got his weapons ready as he walked there. "Hold it," Ghost said, "you might want to take this rocket launcher with you just to take him down faster." Ghost brought out a, just think of any type of rocket launcher, and handed it to Naruto. "And how long have you had this?" Naruto asked and looked at Ghost. "Since we finished the last array," Ghost replied. Naruto couldn't believe what he was hearing, so he only had 3 words to say, "I hate you." Ghost chuckled. "I know you do. Hurry up and take down that knight so they will back off for a while." "You mean the Graver?" Naruto asked, corrected. "Yes, I mean the Graver," Ghost said as he saw Naruto disappear around the corner and only hears painful shrieks coming from the other side of the area. Naruto walked out with the key to the grave when the shrieks were over. "What happened over there?" Ghost asked, "because I didn't hear any rockets detonating." "Oh, nothing," Naruto replied, and he walked off with his partner, leaving behind a crying knight who was rocking back and forth with tears in his eyes like he was violated. "Oh yeah, here's the key," Naruto said and tossed it to Ghost, who looked it over. "I know where we're headed," Ghost said as he finished looking it over. "Head to that entrance over there, it should lead us right to the grave." "The world's grave, not ours. I'll give you a 6 out of 10 for that," Naruto said. "Oh come on, that was pure gold," Ghost whined since he wasn't happy with the score he got. "Okay fine, 7 out of 10. Now quit your yapping," Naruto said, a little annoyed. "That's better," Ghost said happily. "The world's grave, Ocean of Storms, Earth's Moon. Head through that tunnel," Ghost pointed out, and once they entered they both started to hear things. "I don't think we're alone in this tunnel," Naruto said. "I'm picking up 6 hive in here," Ghost said and turned to Naruto. "They're probably thralls. Nothing we can't handle. I see them, let me get them in a group." He didn't have to, since one of the thralls saw him and let out a shriek alerting the others, and they started to head towards him. "Why do they always come in groups?" Naruto's asked, and he threw a vid grenade in the middle of them which instantly killed all of them. "They never learn, Naruto, just let it go," Ghost replied. "They're no fun," he mumbled and just kept walking on. 10 minutes later. "That's it, there it is," Ghost said as he saw 4 acolytes and 2 knights guarding the area. "And they have to be in a group, don't they?" Naruto said, and he jumped up and used a Nova Bomb on the, instantly killing all of them. "Now break into this thing so we can be done with it," Naruto said. "You do know that when I break in they're going to come after us, right?" Ghost asked. "No, they're not. I made sure that the Graver tells them to back off or he won't feel as manly as before." Naruto grinned evilly. so you can take your time. Well, that's good to know. Ghost replied, and he started to break into the hive's information circuit. And what by the amount of information they had surprised him greatly. There's so much. They've broken the Bekenstein limit. Ghost said astonishingly. Well, they had a lot of people guarding it, so you can kinda figure that out. Naruto said as he sat down on the floor and leaned back on the wall. It took a minute for Ghost to finish on retrieving all the information there. Okay, I've got it all, Ghost said as he looked at Naruto. There is unbelievable stuff in here. The hive have seen thousands of worlds taken by the darkness. And they've been seeding Earth for centuries, waiting for their gods to return. I'll warn the city. Get out of here. When they exited the hive fortress, Ghost immediately contacted the city while Naruto went through the files for their next mission. Omake. Alright Guardians, welcome to the Crucible. Lord Shax stated, yes, you will feel pain when you fight against each other and die, but we are not in enemy territory, so you can spawn anytime you like. Now I will divide you into teams of 6 since we're doing Clash today. Naruto, Phoenix, Josh, Ryan, Al, and Shannon, you guys are Alpha Team and will be wearing red armor. Lord Shax turned and faced the remaining 6, you guys are Bravo Team and will be wearing blue armor. Lord Shax turns to both teams, you will be fighting on Shores of Time located on the planet Venus. Good luck. He walks away to his monitoring station so he can watch the fight. On Alpha Team's ship, anyone want to say anything before we start? Phoenix said and they all just look at each other to see if anyone has ever experienced fighting in the Crucible before. Sadly, not one of them is. It stayed quiet until they were about to land, and that's when Naruto decided to speak up so they can have courage in fighting the others. Alright, listen up men and women. Naruto said as he got up and YT-arted to walk around and look at each one of them. You see those F***ers over there? They have done absolutely nothing wrong, but they're blue. At that point Ryan and Al chuckled. I always hated the color blue, you know why? He asked as he turned and looked at them. Why? They all yelled simultaneously. No reason. Naruto immediately turned around and faced away from them. But I do know one thing. And that is we can't let them push us around just because we're new to this. Naruto said as their flag appeared on Naruto's hand. Now who's with me? They all cheered and got teleported outside to the fighting arena, and Naruto stuck "th anyway" flag down on the ground. Let's go kick some ass. They all ran, and in a minute or two a bunch of gunshots could be heard. That was one good yet funny speech, Lord Shax said as he observed Naruto. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.